Alright guys, today is another episode of Club Review, and today I wanted to have a look at Norwich City, who are in a lot of trouble in terms of their position in the Premier League, let's be honest. Okay, so Norwich's form this season has been poor. Let's put it straight. In the league, they've only won 4 games out of about 28, 29 I think they've played now. And I think they've only taken 1 point from the top half of the table in the entirety of the season so far, and that was a 0-0 draw against Wolves. And so that really isn't good at all, is it? They've just they're just at that level where they're not good enough for the Premier League, but they're too good for the Championship. And I partly think it's because as a team, they're not actually a bad team in terms of how they play together, but there's such a lack of quality in the team. Like if you look at every other team in the Premier League, they have a standout star, like midfielder or attacker. Even at like Everton, you have Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. Leeds, Rafinha, and Bamford when he's fit. Phillips too. Watford, you've even got Emmanuel Dennis and at the moment Cucho Hernandez, and like at Norwich, sorry, there's nobody, and that is a big problem. In the cups, they did all right. They beat Wolves in the FA Cup, which is a good result, and they absolutely battered Bournemouth 6-0 in the League Cup, but went out to Liverpool in both competitions. So it's not the worst run ever. But in the Premier League, they really are in big trouble, bottom of the table. Okay, so for Burnley starting 11, I've gone with Tim Krul in goal because, he's a superb goalkeeper to have in your team. So much experience, whether it be with Newcastle or Norwich. I think he's had like 6 years with Newcastle in the Premier League and a couple of years with Norwich now. So, and also played many times for Holland at the 2014 World Cup. I think he played quite a lot as well, or he made that substitute appearance and got them for a penalty shootout, which was very good. And then back four of Max Aarons, Ben Gibson, Grant Hanley, and Brandon Williams. Williams and Aarons are two very good young fullbacks. Obviously, Williams isn't there permanently, but they're not the finished product, and they've still got improvement to do. But in terms of potential, they are good players. Gibson, again, is he really Premier League quality? I'm not sure. You could probably question the same thing with Grant Handley. That it's not the greatest defence ever. Then a midfield three of Kenny McLean, who I think is not a bad player. He's probably been arguably Norwich's best player this season, along with Norman and Billy Gilmore. And Norman, for me, whenever I've seen him play, he hasn't played much this season, but he looks like a very good player. It's just a shame they haven't been able to play him as much as they would have liked. And Gilmore's obviously on loan from Chelsea, but the Norwich fans don't seem to have taken to him. I think he's decent. He hasn't been as good at Norwich as I thought he was going to be, but I still think he's better than anything else they've got. And then up front, front three of Josh Sargent, Timu Pukki, and Milo Rashica. Again, it's a bit of a like chuck free attackers in. There's not much link up play between them, so there could be improvements there easily, I reckon. Okay, so Dean Smith, he's a very good manager to have a team like Norwich, and there has been improvement since they brought him in and got rid of Daniel Farke. And don't get me wrong, Daniel Farke did quite a good job at Norwich. I know he failed to keep them in the Premier League, but 2 promotions is still quite good going. And with Dean Smith, that he's got them playing better football, definitely. They went 1-0 up at Anfield, but couldn't quite hold on. And also got a couple of wins recently as well against Everton, and I can't remember who the other team they beat was. No, I can't remember, but it's still two good results. It might have been Brighton. No. But yeah, still, I feel there's been improvement since he's come in, and I would back him next season to bring them up again and try and like just improve the squad enough so that they can actually stay in the league the next time they do come up. Because I think there's no way they're getting out of it this season. But yeah, I still back Dean Smith to do a good overall job at Norwich by the time he leaves in a few years' time. Yeah, because I think he's a good manager. Okay, so for potential incoming players, it was quite hard to pick players like for them to sign because Norwich aren't really a team that are constantly linked to big name players, but I've tried to find a few. So I've gone with for Barcelona, Oscar Mingueza for centre back because Norwich are crying out for a centre back. They've got a few centre backs, but just not Premier League level players. I don't think Gibson and Hanley. They're both like you could picture them both playing for Derby County a few years ago, couldn't you? Alongside Richard Keogh. Do you know what I mean? They're not quite Premier League quality for me. And then their backup centre backs, Ozin Kabak, who I watched at Liverpool last season, I didn't think he was very good. And Andrew Omobamidele, again, he's a young centre back, but again, is he really Premier League quality yet anyway? But Mingueza is very good at passing and tackling and also keeping hold of the ball, which I think a lot of that comes with being part of the Barcelona academy, doesn't it? And then I've gone in midfield. I really struggled to find someone who I thought could improve their midfield that they would be able to buy because, you know, it's Norwich, isn't it? They're not a big spending team. So what they really need is they need a player who, you know, is a presence in midfield, but is also relatively skillful, who can, you know, pass and dribble and bring the ball forward and create chances for their team. But I just couldn't find anyone, to be honest. I mean, again, it's sort of Paul Pogba role, isn't it, that they need? And then on the left wing, I thought they need another option in that front three because Sargent isn't a right winger. Rashica is more of a centre forward than a winger, I personally think. So I went with Ryan Kent from Rangers because I think he needs to move back to the Premier League. He's easily good enough to be playing in the Premier League. And if you haven't watched much Scottish football, he's very good at crossing the ball, very good passer, and can shoot from distance. I watched him a lot when he was playing in the Liverpool youth teams, and I thought he was going to be a really good player for Liverpool in the future a few years ago, but it didn't work out, and he moved to Rangers, and it has worked out from there. So yeah, he would be a good signing. Okay, so in summary, Norwich, they're going to get relegated, and they just need to try and get themselves back up again, but also come with like players that are Premier League quality rather than Championship quality. Like when you look at their team, there are too many players who are Championship quality. Do you know what I mean? So that's what they really need to improve on. They need to get some exciting attacking forward players, and also a couple of defenders who are like Premier League quality, as I've already said about 1,000 times. But yeah, anyway, I'll give them a 3 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.